and I live outside of Pennsylvania. And last year, at the end of last year, while I was out moonlighting for Uber, my entire life changed because I witnessed something that 99.9% of people would not recognize. And it was the Westchester University Police Department, which compliments of Governor Wolf, and I have no idea what the hell he was thinking, decided to make the university police departments with real police officers. The problem is it's a disaster in talking with other people. So unfortunately, when I turned into Westchester, Main Street, what I witnessed was something I haven't seen in a long time. It's out of the state of New York. It's two officers working together to go ahead and pull vehicles over. And I was running dash cam at the time, and I recorded the whole thing, and I knew what it was as I went down there. And I knew that I would be pulled over, and I would try to be arrested for DUI, because that's how this game works. And unfortunately, because I'm also a paramedic from New York, I've been to a few DUIs. I know how the game works and what they should and should not be doing. Instead, I got two amateur cops named Nicholas Denton, but more importantly, one named Steven Siska, who was impersonating a drug recognition officer. How do I know this? Because they didn't even do the test correctly, nor did they follow the protocol correctly. It turned out to be a joke. Unfortunately, with this going on, I also had two female students from the university. So in this video, what you'll see, we used to call it a push back in New York, but you'll see the first officer pull out in front of me like he was pulling someone over, but they don't. They get out of their car and they sit in the front of their vehicle so they can look through. Some campuses, they would use it just to check for open containers, but in this case, they were profiling. And so the officer immediately gets in behind me, and I notice that, and he signals to the second officer, Steven Siska, who, ironically enough, had just gotten an award for a huge number of DUI arrests. The problem is, as I learned, is that there is a new law in Pennsylvania for DUI, because since Bernie Sanders is out there telling everybody to light him up, they went and rewrote the law so that what happens is that if you have just a trace of anything in your body, you're guilty. And it turns out that our local DA, who is on this real kick to be the drug DA, I guess, was involved in writing this law. And because I don't drink, what they did is when they finally did pull me over, is they fabricated this entire story as to why did I do this and why did I do that. But unfortunately at the time, they did not know I had a dash cam, okay? And everything that they actually put in the chief complaint was false. And I got out of the car. I've been sitting there for 12 hours, and I had a bad sciatica nerve. I even waited till they came up to the car to put my window down, because if you've ever had any experience with DUI, all you police officers, you know the alcohol would be rushing out. And it didn't, because Scott doesn't drink. He's been to enough fatalities. So as a result, it got worse from there. Because Officer Steven Siska, apparently he's been using this new law, as many other officers are, to try and get people arrested and bolster their careers. He actually had just gotten a new job at the New Garden Township Police Department, and unfortunately what Governor Wolf did not think through is that because they don't pay anything there, they're getting people that are straight out of the academy, and the only way they can get promoted is go out and get a lot of bus, which is what they were trying to do that night, except they didn't know that I knew the game. So after Officer Steven Siska could not even perform the correct drug recognition office tests, it was pretty evident what they were up to. So in the end, after I finally told them I took Adderall 20 milligrams, extended release, which turns out is a big target in the state of Pennsylvania because it's an easy target. And I've taken 20 milligrams of extended release Adderall for years. They arrested me for driving under the influence, which is a joke. But the bigger joke became when my drug test came back. In fact, under the guise of medical community standards, my drug test was a joke. And the people at DrugScan, the people the police use, are disgusting what they wrote, because every attorney told me I had to go get a toxicologist to go ahead and dispute it. But even one of the officers in charge of the Westchester University Police Department who looked at it said he wasn't on anything. But the problem is, this is nothing but a scam that was created by this law. And one of the authors of this law apparently is the district attorney from, guess what, Chester County. So when they found out I had dash cams in my car, which I didn't know how they got dash cams in my car until I found Officer Siska doing a nice search through my vehicle. Now, there are two things, and officers can go ahead and, do inventory. But unfortunately, no, he was doing more than that. He was also harassing the girls in my vehicle as well. And some other really bad things showed up on my dash cams. Later that night, I did not back down to this because I'm the most anti-DUI person you'll ever meet because I've seen so many bad things happen through the years. But when it comes to these jokes, it was a joke these two clowns were. And that's what they are. They're clowns. And they shame people that wear a badge. The bottom line is I sat there and it was a joke. So they charged me with DUI, which I welcomed, because as soon as we got the police report, what should have happened is if I had a real lawyer who turned out to be a nobody, he should have cross-examined the police officers and said, okay, read back your statement and show where what happened on the video, because it didn't. And even the second ADA said, this case stinks. So we invited the chief of police, John Brill. Boy, he's a real winner because he's in on this whole thing. And it gets even better with him and the DA to come and look at it. And they didn't show up because they knew this has been going on for a while. Because everything that they wrote in that report did not show up in this video. In other words, another great oversight and overreach of government. And when I did a lot more research into cases, and you can too yourself, you'll see the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court, they actually ruled against a woman because they said the trooper said she did something and over her blood results came back negative. Okay, they negated that as well. And it's created what I call the intimidation game here in Pennsylvania. Easy target for crappy cops. And there are good cops. So I went to go and deliver this video to the president of Westchester University to let him know what was going on with this. And when I went there, unfortunately, the police were waiting for me. And they beat me so bad in the middle of Westchester that I ended up having to be transported to the University of Pennsylvania, to the neuro, where I had to go straight to surgery for 9 hours of surgery. I'm now blind, but the best part is they went and charged me for resisting arrest. But what the officers don't even know is, again, I was recording because I learned. So unfortunately, officers and the law enforcement people out there, please, the state police, Treasury, Mr. President, someone, it is so corrupt here. I've never seen anything like it. I actually fear for my family because if you have police officers that will just beat the living crap out of someone, calling it resisting arrest while the Westchester Borough Police Department comes and laughs at me while they're beating the hell out of me. But I actually have it all on recording where I actually asked the officer directly, am I being detained? He says, yes, you can't risk arrest when you're being detained. And the rest of the charges they trumped up, just like if you look at all of the police complaints about me and then you look at the videos, how in the hell, after the DA saw this, were these officers not charged? You know why? Because that's the way it works around here. It is a corrupt, disgusting system. And so I'm having to move my family. So these videos are just the tip of the iceberg and worse. I have more. And this was all because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time and I recognized something I saw before. But you know what? I love this country more than these jerks do. And I believe in the rule of law. They don't. They believe in the rule of power. And apparently someone must have really want to be a governor that bad, because the fact that they would write a law like we have in Pennsylvania is disgusting. It is disgusting. So the best part is that all I did was go to deliver the video to the president. And the story gets just even better than there, how I was trespassing, which is actually impossible. But I'm reaching out to the Department of Justice. Okay, I'm blind now. I can't see. I have my whole life ahead of me. They've destroyed it. I will not let them destroy anyone else. They even had the audacity to pull the video cards from the cameras around campus. Suddenly they're not there, or they don't have any memory on it. Well, guess what? I have more memory, but I've had to move my family for my safety. What kind of country are we in, people? To the Pennsylvania State Police, I don't know where you are, but I need you. I sat in the back with a lot of your troopers during this, and I showed them the video, and they were pretty blown away. And one of them asked me, why don't I just send it to CNN? And I'll tell you why. Because when I was a little boy, and I was 4 years old, I came home to find my father was gone with defensive wounds. He was a police officer. I don't want anyone ever to go through that again, because there are good police there. But the president of this university, today he made a new clay bowl in the art school. He has no idea what's going on in his own university. The chief of this department needs to go to jail. And I'm sure if someone does open an inquiry into this, I don't think the DA, who thinks he's untouchable, he is very touchable. He's disgusting. And on this video, you'll see where the police officer, who has this unusually high DUI track record, aims his police cruiser straight into me. And if I wasn't prepared for it, I had 2 young female co-eds at Westchester University. If I wasn't ready, or if I really was drunk or high, their lives may have ended. So I beg of you people, please, do your job, news people. Do your job, Treasury. Do your job. This has to end. This is a great country. Don't let these people destroy it. And it's for Bernie Sanders. You son of a bitch. Don't you get it? You can't tell people to go out and smoke them and there's nothing will happen. Are you that ignorant? Marijuana kills, okay? You don't believe me? Look at the other states where we've legalized it. Look at how the fatality rates have gone up. And I'll show you some video camera from last winter when we were up in your state. Some guy smoking a bowl on the side of the road pulled out into us. And we almost killed him, except I was paying attention. I hate to tell you, but drugs kill. But the fact that a police officer beat me till I was blind, I cannot believe where we live. Does anyone care? Because this is really easy to prove. Get the transcripts of my police reports and watch the video and just ask yourself, well, officer, so tell me where this happened in the video. None of them did. They perjured themselves all over the place. Where the hell was the judge in this whole thing? Jesus. I mean, my God. I mean, this is a no-brainer. And yet it continued and continued and continued and continued. And Mr. President, if you actually do see this, I have the greatest faith in you that I know you will not let this. And I thank Senator Toomey's office because he actually called back when he heard of this and was really concerned, and it really has helped me get to the right people. And to the panache people, the people in Pennsylvania, they're supposed to be overlooking this. Thanks for calling back. You didn't. Shows how much you care. You don't. And Governor Wolf, you need to reevaluate this, number one, this DUIE law, because I reached out to my local Democratic Congresswoman, and she actually cared. She wanted to hear how we could fix this, because we can make laws that work, not laws that corrupt, because that's what this law has done. It's created more corruption, and all it's done is targeted mental health, people with mental health. Favorite thing of the government to do. Please, I need your help. I have a family, just like the rest of you.
You have to put your password in.
This is the night of October 26, 2018, in the village of Westchester. Pennsylvania. I'm about to make a left turn to go south on Main Street. When you can see up here ahead is that you're going to see a police officer right here. That is Officer Denton of the Westchester University Police Department pullout. And he's doing a move that I haven't seen in many years. It's called a push. It looks like he's turning someone out, but you see he's right there? He's actually sitting in front of his car. And what he does, he uses that so he can look at the cars in profile. But he's working with a second officer, which turned out to be Officer Steven Siska. Steven Siska is basically down here at the red light. Officer Denton has already been pulled in behind me, and I know that because I have video cameras in there and I know for it. So what happens on cue, Officer Siska is going to do what we call a push. He's going to pull out into me very long, okay, as if he's going to hit me, which will cause me to swerve. Now, if I'm under the influence of anything, drugs or anything, I will end up swerving either into him or anyone on there. That's why this is an illegal and dangerous move. I've only seen this in New York State, but unfortunately this is what he is about to do. This is very illegal because this is nothing more than an entrapment. And interestingly, Officer Steven Siska in his first year has been cited with a high number of DUI arrests. Now, it's obvious that after the DA has seen this, that he would actually investigate this, but instead he again turned the other way, which is really no surprise after the evidence. Because what's even more interesting is when charges were brought against me for DUI, which were later dismissed, is that if you read the charges against me and what they wrote, nothing occurs what they wrote. In fact, there's 16 counts of, we'll call them mistakes in there. In fact, they seized my vehicle unless I would give them my video camera once they found out. How did they know I had a video camera? Well, let's just say I have some very nice video of Officer Steven Siska searching my vehicle. Now, as we all know, that they can do an inventory, but unfortunately, Officer Siska in the video is not doing inventory. He also, through this, was impersonating a drug recognition officer. How do I know these things? I'm a paramedic from New York. Okay, I've been to a few hundred of these things. So as we go down the round, down here, you'll see him pull out at a very timely thing. I have two students from the University of Westchester with me, and at this point, I am trying to protect them at this point because I know what's going on, and I know none of it's good. They finally do pull me over, which I comply, and you'll hear Officer Denton identify himself, but in the report, you'll see that Officer Siska was the one that made contact. Again, another one. And since my attorney actually made an offer to the DA's office and the chief of police that they should look at this video so there was no embarrassment, it was funny, the chief of police didn't show up because he knows it's been going on for a while, and we can prove that. And the ADA actually went there, but the DA refused. And right there and then, the officers should have been brought up on charge, but they weren't. They looked away. And there are reasons why, which we can go into later. So, upon reading just the charges brought up, you'll see that none of the two are the same. And we have two officers working together, as you can see in the video. And who knows how long they've been doing this because it was never investigated by the police. And to also quote one of the officers of the Westchester University Police Department, I should have never charged because when the blood results came back, they were negative, as I knew they would be. And I did not need a toxicology, which is how the Pennsylvania game works. And not only that, the officer at Westchester University Police Department didn't even know what the hell the first one, Denton, was doing in front of the vehicle. We actually had to explain it to him because we've seen this in New York before. This is an entrapment. And what is very bothersome is that the ADA recognized the fact I shouldn't have been there, and she actually went to bat for me, but the DA still would not look at it. And the reason is that based on previous things that have happened beforehand, it's become very clear through other videos and other events, the DA knows this has been going on for a long time. And I'll get to the proof on that in just a minute.
What do you call it? Like, I'll pay you.
$2.
Yeah.
how we save
I
this.
just do it because I don't want her to walk by herself.
Oh, no, my action. And that's my whole thing.
So here we have Officer Steven Siska, who's patrolling in a Chevrolet Tahoe. You're going to see him pull out and into my lane and take this wide. And by the way, we did check the turning radius on this vehicle because that's the first thing they would claim, that he can't turn that tight. And in fact, his turning radius of this vehicle is 19 feet 2 inches, and he had no problems doing that turn. This is where we call the push. This is a deliberate move. And actually in the police report, they actually reported about how I actually went up onto the sidewalk as well. So this is actually a very deliberate action done for specific things. This is not only illegal, but dangerous. What's even more concerning is that the chief of police was asked to review this, John Brill, but he was not interested. And it's ironic that no one has bothered to go back and review any of Steven Siska's things. And in fact, later on, I met up with a few of his colleagues at a different police department who saw this video, and they said they're not surprised by the actions of this officer. This officer is also one that impersonated a DRO. How do I know? Again, I've been to a few hundred of these. Now, I also had 2 Westchester University passengers, females, in my car. Could you imagine if I was actually under the influence? This could have been a horrible collision with death, with the weight of that vehicle. I find this appalling that when I brought this video to the university to share it with the president as to how I was received, I was beaten so bad by the Westchester University Police Department. And yet today, when I look at the president's corner, he's sitting there and he's doing pottery on his website. Are you kidding me? These are students that could have died because this police department is out of control. So, to the Pennsylvania State Police, to the Department of Justice, where are you? I have everything on this. Everything. It's right in front of you.
Oh, no, I'm taking you back.
Me run a stop sign. In fact, the DA made a really big deal about me pleading to this stop sign. But what they didn't want to hear and look at was in the video, in my background, with both Officer Denton and Siska in my tail lights, like cops do. They put their high beams on and they run your tail. There is no way in the world I was going to stop with those 2 female students, them tailgating me, doing what they had done. I feared for their lives. I am a dad. I'm a father. I was there that night to protect them from these people. And the funny thing is, it's funny, the chief of police, he didn't want to know anything about this, and just like the DA, they looked the other way. In fact, they wanted to sit there and trade me a DUI charge for a stop sign. Are you kidding me? What is wrong with you people? These are female students of the Westchester University. These girls have their whole lives ahead, and these predators are out there with police cars. Are you kidding me? And they beat me almost to death because this was the video I was coming to deliver to the president of the university. So maybe someone would do something good about what's going on with all the corruption in there, with the DA. And by the way, I can even tell you why the DA is so corrupt. Can't you, Governor-elect? I connected all the dots for you.
This is the second time tonight.
So please, Department of Justice, please, state troopers, internal investigations, I'm begging you, as a son of a fallen police officer, I still believe there are good police officers out there, which is why I did not release all the video, and there's a lot more, and it's a lot worse than what you're saying. All you need to do is watch the video and pull my criminal complaint, and you guys read the video and sit there and say, okay, I'm sorry, where did this happen again, officers? And that's right, and I can prove to you, because I even have the video of these guys laughing about how they took my car and impounded it unless they gave me their video back. I have everything, but I'm afraid for my family, and I'm moving them. And even yesterday, they were in there trying to charge me for trespassing for dropping off this video to the president. What the hell is the matter with you, man? Wake up. This is what's going on your campus. Wake up, man. Stop playing video and stop playing with clay pottery. And you're basing your charges on there's a sign that says I can't be there at 8 p.m. I got bad news for you. I have the video of when the officer was beating the crap out of me. I got bad news for you. I wasn't under arrest when he charged me for resisting arrest. Here's some even more bad news. It's all in audio and video. I will not let you do this to people. I will not let you ruin our children. I will not let you ruin my kids' generations.